2016 Sepang results. The 26th running of the Malaysian Motorcycle Grand Prix on the newly refurbished Sepang International Circuit went especially well for several combatants, and not so well for a few others. For factory Ducati veteran ANDREA DOVIZIOSO, his skills, his bike, the track and the weather came together in the best possible way, allowing him the relief of a second Premier Class win, his first since 2009's British Grand Prix. Contenders Cal Crutchlow, Marc Marquez and ANDREA all crashed within a minute of one another mid-race, to the delight of those following them. The denouement of the 2016 season concludes in 2 weeks at the finale in Valencia. Practice sessions split their time between wet and dry conditions. FP2 was cancelled with Jack Miller leading and fist-pumping. Marquez, Maverick Vinales and the Bruce brothers of YAMAHA, Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo were all hanging around the top of the time sheets, with Lorenzo looking, well, abnormal, fast in the rain, almost relaxed. But this is practice. Both qualifying sessions were run on a surface I would describe as moist. The best ride on Saturday belonged to my boy Crutchlow, who, with maybe 2 minutes left in Q2, lost the front and slid into the gravel from 12th position. He somehow got the bike back up and running, twisted his levers back into position, and re-entered the fray, started his only flying lap as the checkered flag fell behind him, and put down a great time that lifted him from 12th on the grid to the middle of the second row. Dude has some onions. Meanwhile, ANDREA DOVIZIOSO puts his factory Ducati on the pole at a track that should suit him, with weather conditions looking favorable for the DOVIZIOSO. Could we possibly have our 9th different winner this season? Moreover, would the YAMAHA string of non-wins hit 10 races, the virtual disaster for the factory team and those who support it in Japan? The hardest part of this, for me, is watching Marquez running would amount to 8 recreational sets of practice and qualifying sessions. I keep forgetting that it doesn't really matter for him, though the outcome Sunday and at Valencia will matter a great deal to most of the other riders. Brad Binder keeps winning over at Moto3 after having lapped the field, championship-wise. As we saw last week, Marquez is in full win or min mode, too, although the rain raises the risks and he has bad memories of this place. Might not be a bad idea for the world champion to lay low tomorrow, hope for good weather in Valencia, and pound his opponents to smithereens on Spanish soil in November. In its capricious Malaysian fashion, Sepang gave the riders a dry track for the morning warm-up and a deluge for the race. As the start approached, the rain was truly Forrest Gumpian, and race direction delayed things for 15 minutes while shortening the race from 20 laps to 19. It was unanimous among the Brawley girls that the appearance of their hair was not their fault, and we noticed that Paul Espargaro received a major upgrade at that position, one so critical for the teams and riders in all weather conditions. After the initial siding lap, Jorge El Gato Lorenzo began blistering anyone who would listen, claiming the track had standing water and wasn't safe. He apparently convinced safety director Loris Caparazzi to wait an additional 5 minutes to allow the puddles to dissipate. It turned out to be a good decision, as none of the crashers looked likely to blame standing water for their problems. The conditions did produce a wide selection of tire and brake disc choices, the lottery dreaded by riders lacking the proper data. The lead group formed on Lorenzo, who took the whole shot, followed by Marquez, DOVIZIOSO and Rossi early. By the end of the first lap, it was Rossi leading the factory Ducatis, with Marquez, Aleix Espargaro, Lorenzo, Crutchlow and Vinyls chasing. By the end of the 8th lap, after some justing between Iannone and Rossi, it was Iannone leading Rossi, DOVIZIOSO, Crutchlow, Marquez and Lorenzo, who was fading. Crutchlow was on the flight, Marquez was relaxed and Iannone was showing no signs of the back injury that had caused him to miss a couple rounds. Laps 12 and 13 proved decisive. One by one, top 5 riders, with conditions appearing to be improving, began crashing out for no good reason. First it was your boy Cal Crutchlow crashing out of 4th place in turn 2 on lap 12. Moments later Marquez binned it, losing the front, but getting back on, restarting his bike, and ultimately finishing 11th for 5 pride points. On lap 13, Iannone, who had slipped to 3rd probably in some pain, slipped out of the race entirely, his tortuous 2016 season continuing the pace. And then there were 2, Rossi and Dovi, friends, Romans, and countrymen, left to duke it out on the Sepang tarmac. Rossi, leading, appeared to run wide on lap 15, allowing DOVIZIOSO through, and that was that. Rossi battled the failing front tire for the rest of the day, while DOVIZIOSO cruised to the win, the second of his career since his Repsol Honda days in 2009 at Donington Park. The promotions received by the trailing riders caused some curious results. Lorenzo, never a factor all day, podiumed in 3rd place. The ANDREA Ducati team, showing what the GP14 Delta can do in the rain, took 4th and 5th, with Hector Barbera and Lars Bass both recording memorable results. Vinyls, who looked to be suffering all day in the rain, finally got it together enough for a 6th place finish. The rest of the top 10 was comprised of an improving Alvaro Bautista, an overrated Jack Miller, Gal Espargaro and Danilo Petrucci, who padded his lead over teammate Scott Redding by 5 points in their side bet for a factory bike next season. The drumbeat continues at MOVISTAR YAMAHA. 8 races winless at MotoGP, 9 at Phillip Island, now 10 at Sepang. The flyaway rounds, Rossi with his jet lag, Lorenzo with his wet nightmares, have been a disappointment. The kind of disappointment to which the suits in Hamamatsu are unaccustomed. The kind of disappointment that causes the corporate rivals of folks like Lint Jarvis and his cabal to begin sharpening their knives. You and I think about this stuff for a while and move on. Somewhere in Japan, a Yamaha executive sits in disgrace, the stain on his reputation and career. Thank you for watching this video. See you next time. Bye bye.